Alright, thank you for joining me here this morning. We are live now with breaking news. Officially, Tropical Depression 14 has developed in the Gulf of Mexico, and we are expecting this to develop into a strong hurricane and potentially a major hurricane over the next couple of days and make a landfall near Tampa, Florida. So in this live stream, we're going to be breaking down everything that you need to know about this potential Hurricane Milton that is going to be on the way soon. So, I do want to thank everybody for tuning in. Before we dive into it, I do want to make sure that this stream is working and that we've got everybody in here. If you are new here, please make sure to like and subscribe, because this stream is going to be vitally important information that, again, has just been put out there by the National Hurricane Center as of 18 minutes ago. Again, this is brand new stuff here that we're talking about. So, again, let me go ahead and get this stream pulled up here, but we have got a lot to discuss because this is going to be a big deal here for parts of Florida and just really the Gulf of Mexico in general, and we're going to talk about why here in this stream. So here we go. I've got the stream pulled up. Good to see the usual crowd back here once again. What's up, Jerry? What's up? We've got Kevin. Yeah, the models have uptrended a ton, and again, that's something that we're really going to touch on in this video, especially the GFS, or this stream rather, not this video. So again, what's up, Storm Dakota? Right now, we have Tropical Depression 14 as of 19 minutes ago from the National Hurricane Center, and we're expecting to have Tropical Storm Milton out of this by this evening. What's up, Airborne? So Dakota, this is not officially a hurricane yet, but we are expecting this to develop into a hurricane over the next couple of days. Speaking of which, we're expecting this to be a Category 1 hurricane by Monday morning, alright? And then we're expecting it to rapidly strengthen after that. By Monday evening, we could be dealing with a Category 2 hurricane, and it's going to continue to push northeastward and strengthen. And I think that this could have a very good chance to have a major hurricane status at landfall. Right now, the National Hurricane Center is putting this 1 mile per hour sustained winds below what a Category 3 would need to be. And I definitely think that there's a good chance that we do see an uptrend in this forecast. So, anyway, what's up, Gooseman? What's up, Tampa Air? So we're going to continue to see this push northeastward even after landfall in Florida, which, by the way, this is going to be a big deal because we're expecting the eye wall to hit several major cities, including Tampa, Orlando, Palm Bay, and Northport, Florida, right there in the heart of the peninsula. So that's going to be a pretty dangerous situation. Yeah, make sure to send your family in Fort Myers this stream. The Fort Myers area, I believe, is further to the south, if I'm correct about that. Where exactly is Fort Myers? I keep forgetting. We do so many of these forecasting for potential hurricane streams, and I always forget about where these actual cities are in Florida. So yeah, that is a little bit further to the south there near Cape Coral. So anyway, and that's another thing, Kevin, that we are going to touch on this stream. This is going to impact a lot of areas that got hit pretty hard by Hurricane Helene. We still have some power outages in the Big Bend of Florida, and unfortunately, with another hurricane coming in soon, they're not going to be able to restore those. We're likely going to see evacuation orders be put into effect soon, likely for actually the residential. Let's go ahead and take a look here at some of this information that we do have brand new from the National Hurricane Center here. So it is a little bit too early to talk about storm surge since this is only a tropical depression, but they have released their official rainfall forecast totals, but only, unfortunately, for parts of the Yucatan Peninsula back over towards Cuba. We can see that we are expecting 6 to 8 inches of rain for those regions there. Again, unfortunately, we can't really see the rain probabilities here for the Florida Peninsula or anything like that right now, officially from the National Hurricane Center. However, we can take a look at the wind speed probabilities. We can see that areas along the far west coast of Florida have a 60 to 70% chance to see tropical storm force winds within the next 5 days or so. And whenever we jump over the hurricane wind speed probabilities, we see that areas on the west coast of Florida are also going to have a 20 to 30% chance to see hurricane force wind speeds between now and the next 5 days. And again, as this system gets closer and closer to landfall, confidence will increase. There's almost a 100% chance, in my opinion, that areas like Tampa southward are going to get hurricane force wind speeds. But just because we're still a few days out from this system making landfall, they can't, unfortunately, say whether or not that's going to be the case yet. So we see that the 50-knot wind speed probabilities here, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. These would be severe wind speeds. We see there's a 30 to 40% chance of seeing some of those there on the west coast of Florida between now and the next 5 days. And again, the actual realistic chances there are close to 100. It's just they can't say that because we are several days out from this system making landfall. So the arrival time of the wind speeds, this is going to be a pretty big deal. We can see that we're expecting some sort of landfall here, likely on Tuesday afternoon, maybe into Tuesday evening on the west coast of Florida. And the tropical storm force wind speeds, actually, by the way, could stretch as far north as areas like Baton Rouge or Louisiana. We can see that we've also got areas like Mobile, Pensacola included in that tropical storm force wind speed area potential. So we'll continue to look out for you guys. But again, the main area that gets hit is obviously going to be the entirety of the Florida Peninsula there. So anyway, no warnings or anything have been issued yet for this system because this is only a tropical storm. And also, again, we're still more than 72 hours out from this making landfall, which is where they start to issue watches. So anyway, what's up, everybody? Good to see everybody back here once again. Again, we got a lot of people in here. Yes, again, Hurricane Helene was devastating. We're not anywhere near done with the recovery efforts from Helene. We still have almost 300 people missing. We have over 240 people confirmed dead. We have hundreds of thousands of power outages across portions of the southeast. And unfortunately, some of these outages likely are not going to be restored for months, all right? Especially in parts of Georgia and North Carolina, I think, is where things are really going to take a while to get back to normal. If they're going to get back to normal at all, you know. So again, this is likely going to be a weaker system than Helene, but unfortunately, we are still expecting to see this become a major hurricane, in my opinion. Again, the National Hurricane Center is saying Category 2. It's saying that this is going to be 1 mile per hour sustained wind speeds below what a Category 3 is, though. You're not going to be able to tell the difference between this and a Cat 3. You're not telling the difference between 110 mile per hour winds and 111 mile per hour winds, right? That's just not really possible. Now, I will say, the gusts could be a pretty big problem. This is going to lead to several thousand, probably a couple million, actually, more power outages across the Florida Peninsula. We're expecting gusts up to 130 miles per hour, and again, possibly higher at landfall. So that's going to be a big problem. It's probably not going to hit Valdosta, Georgia, really, alright? I think that Valdosta should, again, maybe see some heavy rainfall from this system, maybe some tropical storm force winds, but luckily we're not really expecting this to make any sort of major impacts to Valdosta. We're saying that it's probably going to just make major impacts on the Florida Peninsula and some more minor impacts outside of that region. So, anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the intensity guidance here for this system from Tropical Tidbits. So this is, again, something that has just been released, as this is a brand new system here. It was an it only became an invest as of this morning, and they were saying it would likely be a tropical depression, tropical storm by the end of the day. And here we are already at 10:30 in the morning. We can see some very concerning stuff here. Now, we see that the general agreement here is this is going to be a high-end Category 2 or a low-end Category 3 system at landfall, which is, again, kind of what I was saying and what the National Hurricane Center is saying, but we do have a couple of members here pushing this all the way to Category 4 intensity. Now, that would be a huge deal, and unfortunately, we can't completely rule that out. With Helene, there weren't any members saying this would get to Category 4 strength, and it did. There weren't any members saying that at one point, and it did do that. So, again, unfortunately, we kind of have to prepare for the worst here in 2024 and say that, you know, this definitely could become a Category 4, Category 3 storm here. And again, the chance of this becoming a major hurricane at this point, I'd say, is like a 70-75% chance. Over the next few days, my confidence will likely increase on that, though. Again, it's already pretty much a tropical storm. We were just a few mile per hour below on the sustained wind speeds of a tropical storm. And that's actually something pretty interesting. We can see, actually, on the South Texas radar, we are seeing some of the outer bands of this system here bringing some heavy rain to extreme southern parts of Texas. We've had general thunderstorm risk going out for pretty much everywhere along the Gulf Coast over the past few days, and the reason being is this system here. And we actually do have a mesoscale discussion right now talking about flooding being a potential in South Texas here. So if we go ahead and turn on the... let's see here, where are the mesoscales? I never actually turned these on, so I don't know where they're at. I have them on mobile. I don't remember how to turn them on. How do we get the mesoscales up there? You used to live in those mountains. You lived in Columbus, 30 miles away from Asheville. Your family's fine, though. That's great. Again, it was going to be, again, it was just devastating there in the Asheville area, but things, again, are slowly but surely getting better. Unfortunately, it's probably going to be months until things actually go back to what you may consider normal in that area, maybe even years. So, again, some devastating stuff, obviously. Yeah, again, I do imagine, actually, that evacuation orders will eventually be put out there for the Tampa region. Again, I think that that's actually a really, really, really smart thing to do would be to start putting those out there now because, again, there's almost a 100% chance that we see a strong hurricane make landfall within 100 miles or so of Tampa. Again, there's not quite enough confidence out yet for the National Hurricane Center to be saying things like that, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think that we will see evacuation orders be put in effect for Tampa. Again, I think that we're going to see quite a bit of storm surge and also some very, very high winds. That would be the big things. No, I don't think Milton will be worse than Helene, the last B. Not really much of a chance of that. Yeah, Tampa's already got flooding, too, from the last system. They've already got storm surge. Again, they had a ton of freshwater rainfall as well. It's devastating stuff. Or Orlando. I don't know if they'll put evacuation orders in effect for Orlando, because obviously you're way further inland there. Storm surge isn't really a thing in Orlando. And again, the wind would be the main threat along with the heavy rainfall, so we'll wait to see if that were to happen. But again, we definitely could see Category 1, Category 2 impacts there to the Orlando area. Yeah, we'll be looking out for you, Tampa Air. So, anyway. These are the GFS ensembles here for the model track guidance. We can see that all of them, every single one of them pretty much, has this making landfall somewhere between the Florida Big Bend and areas south of Tampa Bay. Again, with a general consensus being right around the Tampa area there for a landfall. So, we'll see what happens. The GFS ensembles are, again, being pretty interesting with the strength there. Again, pushing this to a likely Category 2, Category 3 hurricane. The Global Plus Hurricane models here, they are saying that this is going to be a little bit more of a southern tracking storm. This is kind of what the National Hurricane Center is saying as well. Anywhere between Tampa Bay and even all the way down to, like, Miami could actually see a landfall from this, according to those. So, let me actually go ahead and X out of some of these tabs here so that we can go ahead and get you guys, this thing's stopping so laggy, sorry, I just X out of chat, so I'll bring that back up here in a minute. Give me 1 second here, gotta bring that back up, that was a mistake. X out of some of these tabs here so that we can go ahead and get you guys. Hurricane Leslie formed a couple hours ago. Yeah, that's another thing. Again, this was a tropical storm just yesterday, and now we have Hurricane Leslie out of this. Hurricane Kirk has been downgraded to a Category 3, however, it's still major. Radar Omega has had a really weird glitch here where the track says that this is going to go wild. The actual track here for Major Hurricane Kirk is going to be, again, it's going to weaken out significantly, but then it's going to make its way up towards areas like the United Kingdom. We're talking about areas even around Germany, France, potentially seeing some post-tropical cyclone impacts from that, which does not happen very often. What's up, Gooseman? But, let's go ahead and pull up the GFS model here for this system. Just yesterday, we were looking at this. It was saying it may be a weak tropical storm. Something very concerning has happened. Again, it already honestly kind of looks like a tropical storm on the GFS model here. But if we go ahead and pull this up here, we can see that this is going to rapidly intensify over the next couple of days. And by Tuesday, we could be dealing with a Category 4 hurricane. Again, 944 millibar low pressure system. The National Hurricane Center is saying that we'll see a Tuesday landfall out of this. The GFS model's pushing more towards like a Wednesday landfall, Wednesday evening. Again, as a 949 millibar low pressure system north of Tampa is where it has this one making landfall in the southern part of the Big Bend of Florida, and then drifting off to sea there. The European model shows something very similar. If we can go ahead and go back to the 0Z here, the European model shows something very similar, but just with weaker strength. And also, this shows it being a little bit further to the south of Tampa. Now, it's saying, again, it's being a lot more conservative with the strength, 983 millibar low pressure system, but it did that with Helene too, so honestly I'm going to trust the GFS on this one. And the Canadian model here actually has a very interesting perspective. It has this making landfall way further to the south, like towards Miami, and it's also saying it's going to be a much weaker system, barely even a hurricane, but again, I'm going to trust the GFS at all three of those models. So anyway. Do I think Helene is going to be worse than Katrina? It depends on what you mean by worse. Thank you, Evil Queen. Again, if you are new here, make sure to like and subscribe. Again, we do this kind of stuff every day, and it is going to be a wild few days of streaming here once again, not only with Hurricane, or soon-to-be Hurricane Milton here, but also with severe weather. Even today, we've got ourselves an unexpected slight risk of severe weather for parts of Wisconsin and the UP of Michigan here. And then tomorrow, we've got ourselves a very small tornado risk across parts of the eastern Ohio Valley. I don't know why they issued this. I really am going to be quite shocked if we see a tornado tomorrow, but I guess it is a very small potential anywhere from parts of West Virginia, Ohio, back through parts of western PA and southwest New York up towards Lake Erie there. So again, make sure to click that like and subscribe button, as we're going to be live for the landfall of this system, hopefully. Depends on the timing of it. Again, we will have several streams out about the system in general, though, no matter what. That's a guarantee. Yeah, that's another thing. With Helene, we had an EF3 tornado. We're not going to see anything like that with Milton, most likely. I'm not going to rule it out entirely, because, again, we're still a few days out. We don't know the full potential tornado impacts with this system. But I do think that we could definitely see a couple of tornadoes, maybe a couple of strong tornadoes, but I really don't think it's going to be anything like what we saw with Helene, where we had, a dozen tornado warnings at once. I have looked at photographs, Kevin. They're really not impressing me. So, I don't just look at the HRRR every day. Davis Islands is going to be flat. Yeah, again, we talked about this yesterday. Davis Islands is going to be pretty heavily impacted by this hurricane, most likely. Guys, please don't spread misinformation in the chat. Again, after Helene, everybody's shaken up quite a bit in Florida. And again, they don't need, to worry about this more than they should, if that makes sense. But yeah, there's an island outside of Tampa called Davis Islands. Pretty interesting. Yeah, again, the National Hurricane Center has said that this will likely be a Category 2 hurricane at landfall. I think it's going to have the potential to be a Category 3. No, a Cat 5 is not a possibility. There's no way. Even if it underwent insane rapid intensification starting now, it's very unlikely this would become a Category 5. And again, we can't just say there's going to be 30 inches of rain. We really have no idea at this point. Yeah, Category 2, again, is still a strong hurricane. They usually do end up issuing several evacuation orders for areas that get directly impacted by Category 2 hurricanes. See, I don't know about Milton. I want to see Beryl get retired, and I want to see Helene get retired. We don't really know about Milton yet. If you're talking about, like, the hurricane models, they always go way, way, way more wild than we expect with the strength. They say, 880 millibar low-pressure system for Helene. That's literally what they said. Some of them were pushing this down into the 880s for strength. So, again, you do not you don't trust the hurricane models with the strength necessarily all the time. Yeah, I want to see Helene get retired. I'd say there's probably a 95% chance we see Helene get retired. The only reason I don't say 100 is because we've had a significant Helene in the past and they didn't retire it, but this one was much, much, much more significant. Barrel, I'd give it like a 25% chance of being retired. I think it should get retired in my opinion, but because it didn't make any significant impacts to land, probably not going to happen, but it was the earliest season Category 5 ever. So. Right, but you never want to trust the ones that just go the most aggressive. And again, it's only the most aggressive ones that are saying that this is going to get down to a 920. Again, not even Helene got down to a 920, guys, and that was a much, much, much more favorable scenario than this. Again, at this point, we've got slightly cooler SSTs. It's got less time to strengthen. So, it's probably going to be a little bit more iffy on the strength than Helene was, hopefully. And the reason this is going to be so much less devastating than Helene was is because this is making one landfall. That's it. That's all we know about right now. One USA landfall, and that's going to be in Florida. And I guess technically Helene did the same thing, but, you know, it tracked through Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, Ohio. It several states extremely hard. This one's really just going to be a Florida issue, and then maybe parts of Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and South Carolina get some minor impacts, but it's not going to be anything crazy. Yeah, 2024 actually was very similar to 2020, where 2020 had a very lackluster beginning to the season, and then all of a sudden it went wild. And you could say 2024 had a crazy start to the season because of Beryl, but remember, Beryl only made a Category 1 landfall in the United States. It really was not that significant. I think things only really started to pick up just recently with Helene. Again, usually hurricane season is on the downward trend by now, but it's really not this time around. So, again, I mean, just look out there right now. We've got two hurricanes. One's a major. We're expecting a major hurricane to make landfall. It's very active. And again, usually hurricane season peaks in early September. We're about a month past peak hurricane season at this point, and we're still seeing significant storms. Again, we almost had a Category 5 with Kirk. One of my top hurricanes of the year, Davis. I don't know what you mean by that. Well, if we want to dive down into the Bible, Helene was nothing like. It depends on what religion you're talking about, but if you're talking about the Christian Bible, this was nothing like what's described in there, in those passages. 1,000 joules per kilogram of CAPE is not that much, though, Kevin. That was the thing with Helene. The dry air stopped this from strengthening further. Yeah, so the strength of the system so far this year go Beryl, Kirk, Helene, and then I want to say Ernesto. and then Isaac, and again, potentially, now Milton will fall in between Isaac and Ernesto. It could become one of the top 5 strongest storms of the year, I'd say. But that barrel had like way more cape though than this is gonna have, if I'm correct. Alright, sorry about that. So, we're not going to dive into what just happened again. I was muted there for a few minutes. Sorry about that. But, anyway. Well, yeah, but you can cherry pick through any event ever. You know, find an event that didn't have that much SRH but produce an EF4. Find an event that didn't have that much cape but produce an EF4. Or find an event that didn't have that much shear but produce an EF4. You can do that really for any different any different setup that's lacking one specific ingredient. This took a path like Adalia did. Adalia was further to the north, but yeah. Again, this could turn north in the last second. Some of the models are saying that's a potential. So we'll see, but I think this is going to be much further south than Adalia was. I think this is going to be more similar to Ian's track. And again, I want to make this clear. I'm not talking about intensity-wise. I'm talking about the track. They're saying 110 sustain, Sam. See, that's what I'm saying, Kevin. Yeah, we can actually see some heavy rainfall falling in South Texas right now. From the outer bands of TD14. The hurricane models always way overdo it with the strength, though. We were just talking about that. So, we pull up the Gulf here. Here's Tropical Depression 14. We can just barely not see it, really. And I think this will probably make a Category 3 landfall. That's my guess as of right now. If we were to go over the specifics here, here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say Category 1 landfall is like a 10% chance. If this system really just does not strengthen like we think it's going to. I'd say Category 2 landfall is like a 25% chance. A Category 3 landfall, which again is what I think is the most likely, I'm going to go ahead and throw that at like a 45% chance. So then that would make a Category 4 landfall for me probably be about a 15% chance, and then a Category 5 landfall would be like a 5% chance. I believe that all adds up to 100. No, it does not. What am I talking about? Oh, yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. New GFS run is starting to render in, is it? Is this the 12Z, right? Yeah. So, yeah, that new GFS run is coming in as we speak, and here is something very concerning. It is showing that as early as... Ooh, wow, as early as Sunday night, we could be dealing with a Category 2 hurricane. This is Sunday night, guys. 982 millibar low pressure system, that'd be kind of right along the verge of a Category 1 or a Category 2. Again, it's going to organize very quickly. We could genuinely be dealing with a hurricane as early as Monday. So, that's big. Very similar to the last run, though, I will say. What can you expect for your cousin in Northport, Florida? So Northport actually may get some of the worst impacts here. We'd be talking about several feet of storm surge if you're along the coast there by Northport, like by Inglewood. We're talking about flooding rains and damaging winds being big threats too, and then some isolated, maybe some more scattered tornadoes. So. If you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe. We got breaking news. We're providing new info every day on potential major Hurricane Milton over the next several days. Yeah, I said Kirk because we also have major Hurricane Kirk out there right now. We got Hurricane Leslie. It is very, very active, obviously. But yeah, make sure to like and subscribe. We'll be live for landfall, hopefully. If not, we'll be live for some significant landfall impacts again. I want to be live for landfall. The only reason I won't be live for landfall is if it makes landfall while I'm at school, you know. So again, we cover severe weather as well, not just hurricanes. And we're going to be dealing with some potential severe weather with damaging winds, large hail, and isolated tornadoes over the next couple of days. Well, you know, Roman, I'd like to point out you didn't give any numbers, so. And it's also still stuck at 37.5 billion right now, so. Well, yeah, I'm just saying, though, it's pretty easy to sit here and say that I was wrong whenever you don't make a guess at all. Again, I think this is going to honestly make, I don't know, I think the National Hurricane Center track is pretty good. I think it's going to make landfall very close to Tampa. I really do. Chat, let's try to get this stream to 25 likes. Pretty much flooding on the whole peninsula right now is a pretty big deal because they've been seeing severe storms, not severe, but just sub-severe storms over the past few days. And then obviously Helene brought a ton of rain as well, so. Next frame on the GFS is in. Wow, yeah, that's not good. Wow, so as early as Monday afternoon now they're saying this will be Category 3, close to Category 4 strength, 965 millibar low pressure system. Whew. Again, the GFS wants this to make landfall like later this week, but the NHC is saying that it's going to be within the next few days here, so, or next week technically, I guess. Thank you, Evil Queen. See you later. Hopefully your house stays strong. I saw a meme, it was like, it was making fun of Dolly Parton's Jolene. It was like, Helene, please don't take my roof just because you can. Oh, that was pretty funny. Yes, if you can, please do share the stream. If you know anybody out here, make sure to send them this. This is going to be a big deal for the Florida Peninsula, and then also other parts of the Gulf of Mexico and the southeast coast as well could see significant impacts from tornadoes and flooding rain. And again, we're going to be live for, hopefully, landfall here of this system. If not, we'll be live for the tornado threat and the aftermath as well. So... Well, Will this come to South Florida? Yeah, so again, that is a potential that some of our models are predicting. Again, though, we mainly think that it's going to make a central, kind of a west central Florida landfall. Sorry, I'm zooming out and in so much. We're thinking this is going to make like a landfall somewhere around Tampa, but South Florida would see significant impacts if that were to happen with storm surge, flooding rains, wind, and then especially the tornado threat. Or not especially the tornado threat, but also the tornado threat. Yes, we talked about the slight risk in the parts of Wisconsin and Michigan. So. Your friend lives on Siesta Key. What can you expect? So Siesta Key, again, right there, right, probably going to get hit by the eye wall. That would lead to extreme flooding if this were to happen again. Hopefully this curves further to the north, but I do imagine Siesta Key could see storm surge and significant flooding. Do you think at 5 o'clock the truck was shipped down to the south? Gosh, dude, people are so mad that I modded James Pettis. Dude, I'm ready for the polar jet stream to really kick in. I'm ready to see some big snows. I'm turning off the cones because of the Kirk glitch. Like, what? What in the world? It really does not let... Roman, bro, get out of here. You seriously don't know who he is? You have horrible Wi-Fi. We've had like 7 invasion streams at this point. Get out! We could actually see a day 3 marginal or slight risk, I'd say, get put in place for parts of Florida for the tornado threat. That would be Monday. It's a possibility. I'm not going to guarantee anything because, again, there's a lot of uncertainty on when this is going to make landfall, but we'll see. Will Palm Beach County go under hurricane or tropical storm watches? Eventually, yes. Sometime within the next couple of days here. Palm Beach County. So, yeah, I mean, probably tropical storm warnings, I'd say. Maybe hurricane warnings if this makes a little bit more of a southern landfall, but we'll see. We need a thumbnail for Jesse's outbreak stream. Nice. The newest run of the GFS does not show a Cat 5. It shows a 956, which would barely be a Cat 4, if that. And that's a big deal, don't get me wrong, but it is not showing a Cat 5. Not even really close. So. What do you think about Orlando and Milton? Yeah, so Orlando would probably see hurricane force winds, some flooding rain. Those would be the main threats. Maybe an isolated tornado threat or isolated tornado or two. It'll likely be a tropical storm next update. Probably, yeah. Alright, sorry about that. We're back. But yeah, it'll probably be a tropical storm within the next couple of updates. I don't know about next update, but it's gonna be likely one by tonight. And guys, I'm gonna have such a ridiculously busy day. I'm gonna be gone for all day virtually. So if I do get a stream, it'll be after 8:30 at least, probably. Do you think this system will go out to sea and not affect Florida? Unfortunately, that's probably not really a possibility. I think we're definitely going to see a Florida landfall. I wish that was a possibility, but it's probably not. Chat, what is happening? So, we got a few new scans in the GFS. It's showing a 947 millibar low pressure system now, which would, again, be a low end Cat 4. So, this is probably where it's going to stop strengthening and start to weaken out. But, it's showing this at Tuesday evening. So, Tuesday evening, it is starting to push this landfall a little bit further early. Again, it's saying like a Wednesday landfall, while the National Hurricane Center is saying a Tuesday landfall, so we'll see. Again, I really wish there was more certainty on that because of how close this is to landfall. Again, it's going to be this week. What's up, Indiana? Cat what? Probably a Category 3 at landfall is what I'm saying. The National Hurricane Center is saying Category 2, and then the models are saying Category 4. Around there anyway. So. Nobody is surprised that the GFS is showing that. Do you think? Do I think that you'll get any impact? See, that's a really good question. I think that if anything, you would see a rain threat and maybe an isolated tornado threat. But unfortunately for you, because I know you love stuff like this, you're going to be a little bit too far north to see the worst, anywhere near the worst of the impacts. But honestly, you may be fine with that because you just got Helene. I think that's you're probably you may still not even have power after that. It looks like most of the outages have been restored in your area though, but. Yeah, let me know how you're dealing with that, by the way. I've been looking out for you. Do I think they'll cancel school for Palm Beach County during the hurricane? There's a good chance. I'm not too sure on the cancellations of school during, what you have to have for that, but I imagine so. I imagine they will. And yeah, the GFS has it stopping strengthening at a 947, and it has it making landfall as a 951. In Tampa at this point, pretty much. Maybe on the north side. Again, Tampa is going to see some serious impacts from this no matter what, guys. It's almost a guarantee at this point. It's right smack dab in the middle of all this craziness. All the action. The new run of the GFS is also showing Kirk Bing out towards the Germany region at this point, so it's also showing Leslie honestly not being that strong. Oh wait, that wasn't Kirk. Oh yeah, it is Kirk. So anyway, so chat, I would love to stay here for longer, but unfortunately, like I said, I have a super duper busy day in Miami and Fort Lauderdale. Some spots already gotten 3 inches of rain this morning. France, yes, but also Germany. So, that's what I meant when I said that, the Germany region. Yeah, northern lights are possible tonight across the northern tier of the country. Levi's, hoping to see him from Nashville. So anyway, we're going to end off the stream here again. Unfortunately, I'm not going to have another, I didn't call France Germany. I said the Germany region. Anyway, we're going to cut things off here. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll be live hopefully later tonight. But again, I got a huge day ahead of me. A very, very long day. So I'm probably going to be super tired if I do end up doing a stream. So just a little heads up. But again, make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. We'll try to be live for this Landfall. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.